Welcome, everyone. This presentation and this event is regarding the eighth grade information for families as they're transitioning from the middle school to the high schools. This information really is applicable to any parent wanting to learn more about the high school. Also, if you have never attended or this is your first experience for your child, because you attended school in a different country, a different state, and this is new to you to help you understand and get kind of a better picture of what high school is all about. So today's objective is to help parents or caregivers who have not attended or are unfamiliar with public schools in the US better understand the school system, design and programs, and we will provide resources for all families who are, who've not been raised in the US or new to the US school system or public schools to learn where to find more information. And honestly, that is one of the biggest resources and supports we can provide you today, because I am going to tell you that there's going to be a lot of information given to you today if high schools are brand new to you. And so pace yourself. This is going to be recorded and you can watch this at a later time and access information as needed. The main thing I hope you all get from there is there are a lot of resources. We have embedded a lot of links within the slide deck. And once you ask for the feedback, once you complete the feedback form, and I can email you the slide deck with all these links. Also, I will show you some places on the website that has more information because our website is amazing. For some parents may have a hard time navigating because it's so much, and I can show you some places that you can go to get more information. So know that a lot of this information is out there, and there are a lot of staff, Melanie's team, the counselors, my team, the family partnership specialists. We're all here to help you navigate this information. And understanding high school is a very long process. So don't expect you're going to leave in the next 2 hours and know everything there is to high school. So know that, it might take you, it's going to take you a while. And even for me as a parent, I'm still learning. My daughter's going to be a senior next year, so I don't know everything being a senior parent, but it gets easier as you are in the system living it because there's so many resources to help. And so this is just one step in understanding the school system a little bit more. So before we get too much further, I want to introduce ourselves, and I'm going to introduce myself via this first slide for me. My name is Lorna Gilmore. I am a teacher in special assignment. It's called a TOSA, and I am doing this English session. My title is Family Partnership Specialist. So my primary 50% of my role is to help families. I do many events, usually 1 or 2 a month, in helping them navigate and understand the school system. And the other part of it is I also work with a lot of staff in helping them better understand how to support parents, communication with parents, and doing some cultural competency training. Uh, I also help supervise 3 liaisons, and each of the liaisons work in 3 different school feeder patterns. And Lena Marin is in the Liberty feeder pattern, so she supports Liberty, Cougar Mountain, and Maywood. Liliana Medina works in the Issaquah High School, and she supports families at Issaquah, Pacific Cascade, and Issaquah Middle. And finally, Wenli Mithal, who works in the Skyline feeder pattern, and she's doing the Mandarin session, and she supports families in Skyline, Beaver Lake, and Pine Lake. And their link is on the website, and you can connect with them and call them as you need more questions after the session, or you can also call me. In the slide deck, all of our resources and contacts are listed. And at this time, I'm going to ask Melanie to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Melanie Bonanno. I am the counseling coordinator for the school district. So I support our school counselors K through 12 across the district. And I'm happy to be in partnership with Lorna in supporting our families and providing information to you tonight.
Thank you, Melanie. So the first thing is I mentioned the word feeder pattern, and many families we recognize don't understand the concept of feeder pattern. And feeder pattern is if you live in the Issaquah boundaries, based on your address, you will be assigned a set of elementary schools, middle schools, and high school, the high school that you will be attending. And so you have to attend the school that you within the boundaries of your address. Just this past year, the school district opened enrollment, which means that families from other districts or different areas can apply to go to different schools. With that, you need to know that all of the high schools are at max capacity, and so there really isn't open enrollment for them. All the middle schools are also at maximum capacity, and a couple of the elementary schools are too. But most of the elementary schools, I believe at least 12 of them, are not at maximum capacity. So many of the elementary schools are really open enrollment. Now, there are several parents who asked, can I apply? My child is going to be going to Skyline. Can I instead go to Issaquah High? And there is a process for that. And if I don't address it the next hour or so, let me know and we will talk about it, because that's through open enrollment process. And that link is on the website under the word enrollment. So this is my 8th year in this position, and in working with parents and doing workshops, one of the main things I realized that for many families, it's really the big philosophical difference. They don't understand the difference between the US high school versus many of our other high schools. And one of the biggest difference that parents should understand as they're supporting their child through their high school years is that the student is really the one in control of their education or the pathway, the courses they're going to be taking, and the families are going to help the student coach them, really the coach. And so the student and the family are the managers of this their education. Very often I have parents say, well, what's the best class? I want to take the best class. What's the best pathway? They go and ask the school counselors, well, what's the best class to take to get into this college? Or what's the best classes to take to get to the best colleges? And the answer is they can't tell you. They're going to give you choices, and there are many choices, and it's really very much dependent on your child. So that is one of the biggest messages and the hardest things for parents to really truly grasp, because in many countries, I know I grew up in India and it was very linear. You took a certain class and then you just kept on that road, then you took that final exam, and based on that score, you went to a college. Very, very linear. But over here, there's so many options. For some people, it is really overwhelming because they don't understand why. What is the point? Why is this class better than that class? Why should I take this versus that? And even in your questions that I'm seeing in the registration form, people are asking, well, what's the difference between AP and IB? When can I start taking IB classes or AP classes? What's Running Start? When can I take that? Because there are so many options. And the answer is there are so many options because every child might want a different pathway. And we're trying to get every child to be prepared in what they want to do. So we're giving them the many options. And so one of the main things is through the course of the school year, students will be exposed to different ways for them to reflect by doing some surveys and interest forms. And through those little lessons, they're going to start thinking, oh, this is kind of the pathway, or this is a class I should take. I'm more interested in this. Based on that, I'm going to take these classes. And as they get to their sophomore and junior year, they might want to go to a certain field. And then as they're looking at that, it might lead them to take certain classes. But again, no child or children are, very often parents tend to compare with other friends' children. Children tend to compare themselves with each other, but everyone might be taking something slightly different based on what they're interested in doing and where they're going to be going. So keep that in mind. The other thing parents ask is, do I need to apply to get to the high school? And the answer is no. Access to high school, public high school, is free to everyone. Everyone in 8th grade is going to automatically, the information is going to be transferred to the high schools. So if you're going to be Pine Lake, for example, you are going to be in Skyline. If you're at Issaquah Middle, you're going to go to Issaquah High. There are some minor differences. For example, at Cougar Mountain, some kids go to Liberty and other kids go to Issaquah High, but pretty much you will get, if you're in the feeder pattern, if you're living within the Issaquah School District boundaries, it's not an apply that maybe you'll get into high school or not. Every single kid has access to that free education till they're 18 or they're senior. And for some kids, it might be a little bit older. Uh, the other thing to note are students are independent and we're really pushing for them to be responsible. And part of the American philosophy is really about the individual being independent, the individual making these responsible choices, advocating for themselves, looking at what they're interested in doing and making choices for their career pathway. The other thing, a bit different for some, is the focus on a well-rounded student. Very often parents might be just focused on the academics. They're in high school, really, we want to make sure they're taking all these different high level classes. But one of the big things that we in the US school system really emphasize is the well-rounded student. We want them to be involved in many sports. We want them to be involved in many extracurricular activities. We're hoping that they will want to be more community minded and interested in volunteering. It's not that it is a requirement to graduate. We're just hoping that community service is part of their value, that they want to help their community. So all of that is about building and creating students that are well-rounded and creating citizens for tomorrow that are going to really help support our country and our society. So the ISD also focuses on college preparedness with many opportunities and pathways to trade schools, technical colleges, and other opportunities for students after high school. So while we are definitely college preparedness, for those students who want to go to technical schools, to maybe 2-year schools, do an apprenticeship and move from there, there are also many opportunities for that. So again, focus on many choices in the schools. So most of your children right now, or all of your children right now, are in 8th grade, which is the middle school. And if they're in the middle school in Issaquah, they're in a trimester school system, which means that their school year was divided into 3 parts. Their second trimester that they're in right now is going to end sometime in mid-March. But when they go to high school, it's going to be based on semester. So there will be 2 semesters. The first semester ends at the end of January, and then the second semester will end, and then school ends in June. The finals, this time, this is a big one because and some of you might have thought, oh, that's kind of strange. How come my child didn't have a big final test or something? Well, get ready. In high school, they do have finals, and finals are very often a big part of their grade. And the finals are the end of the semester. And that week is also different because students have a modified schedule that week. And don't worry about knowing all this, just know that it's coming and more information will be given to you when your child is in 9th grade in January about the schedule at that time. But students will self-select courses throughout the high school. That's not something placed by the counselor or the teacher. So students have a lot of options as to what they are doing. And there will be some information, and especially on the websites, the course catalog, as to who might want to be interested in taking it. Very often the teachers want to, the parents want to say, should my child do this? Should my child do this? And the counselor is saying, well, your child has the option. It's up to them. Okay. So that's a very common message they're going to be giving. They can give advice in course selection, but really parents and students are on their own because it's a student decision. And through the course of high school, there are going to be even more and more options. And to be honest, this next year, 9th grade, parents don't really have that many options and choices because there are some basic classes all the 9th graders have to take. And so it's pretty set. There are usually 1 or 2, maybe 3 options for, in English or in history or in math, but it's kind of set. But as the students become sophomores, juniors, seniors, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, the number of options become more and more. So so there are many opportunities also in high school for clubs and extracurricular activities. So your child can be in 2 or 3 after school extracurricular activities. There are many sports in high school. And at the high school, there is a school counselor, which you had in middle school, but now your child will be exposed to a place called the College and Career Center. All three high schools have this College and Career Center, and there are two college and career specialists in those centers that help guide and navigate kids. There are information about different colleges, different careers, apprenticeships posted, lots of information there. So there are just going to be a lot of things at the high school. You might not be able to see a lot of it because you're not at the high school. But thing to note is all of those opportunities, information is at the school, and your child will be going and experiencing this while they're going through high school. So one of the big difference we have from families that it told us is they don't understand when they come to U.S. high schools. All of a sudden, we're using these different terminology and they're very lost. So things to note is the only thing you really need to remember for next year is your child is a freshman. So anytime you hear the word freshman, that's you. That's your kid. So ninth grade, they're called freshmen. In 10th grade, they're called sophomores. 11th grade, they're called juniors. And in 12th grade, the year they graduate, their final year, they're called seniors. All of your children will be graduating part of the class of 2029. You're probably already seeing that in their email address and in different parts of their school life, but they are the class of 2029. Now, this is a big one, transcripts, because all of a sudden, starting in the high school year, you're going to hear something about transcripts, and transcripts are different because I don't know if all countries have them. I know I was unfamiliar with them before we moved to the US, but I was very young. But in transcripts, even in the US, each state determines what this transcript looks like. So Washington State determines what all Washington State schools transcripts look like, and they give the schools a lot of information as to what needs to be provided to create that transcript. So Melanie does a lot of work. She and several other people this past couple of weeks have been super busy because they have to create all the course, the codes, because all of those courses and codes and information that goes in the transcript then informs colleges more about the class. What kind of a class? Was it a AP class? Was it an IB class? Was it an honors class? So all of these different codes tell colleges about the classes the students were taking. So you might just see the title of the class, but the coding gives parents a lot of information. The transcript is a document that has records the grades for all of the grades of a child in their freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. So it's for all 4 years. So starting next year for your child, grades matter. Grades are going to be part of this final record that the colleges will ask for. They'll ask for their grades as you apply for different colleges, because sometimes colleges will have a grade point average expectation for the students that they accept at that college. It also shows the number of credits that students earn for each class. We're going to define credits more in a minute. And colleges and universities usually require a formal transcript um, or school transcript as part of the application process. And getting a transcript, there's a website link that tells you how to do it. So again, not needed for your freshman year, but that's something that'll come up in your sophomore and junior year. And so remember, we're going to focus on what we need now for your freshman year and some general information for the whole high school experience. So grades. Every grade earned in high school level is on the school transcript. In the IST, it is a cumulative grade based on tests, assignments, and projects. So the grade is not based on the final. Okay, it's based on, just like in middle school, it's based on all the assignments, tests, and such through the course of the year. And note, there is a difference that certain assignments, tests may be weighted more than others. So it's a cumulative grade for that entire semester. Passing a class is crucial for graduation, and passing a class is considered a D. So you notice that even a D gets you a 1.0. A GPA is the grade point average, and it's the cumulative numerical score average of all the letter grades. So if a child, let's say, gets an 87%, that most likely is a B plus, and which point it's going to be a 3.3. And then they add it all up, divide by the number of classes, usually 7 for all the Issaquah School District high schools, and then based on that, they get a GPA. And here's an example of a grade point average table that we use. It's also important to look at your teacher's syllabus for more details for letter grades and in their class. So how do you earn high school credit? So for each semester, you get half a credit. So for one completed year, you get 1 credit. So in your 9th grade year, your child will take a language arts class, both first semester and second semester. So they'll get 1 credit. They'll probably also take a math class, a science class, a history class, and a couple other classes. So if they take all 7 classes and pass all 7 classes for the course of that entire year, they'll earn 7 credits. And times 4, it's 28 credits. The good news is they don't need 28 credits to graduate from high school, but it gives them flexibility if any kid is struggling, and gives them flexibility if any kid wants to take more classes or really explore and take a whole bunch of extra classes. So if a student does not earn the credits required to graduate after 4 years, they can continue in high school to earn more credits, so they can potentially go their 5th year in high school. But note that in Washington, the compulsory attendance law requires students to attend schools between the ages of 8 and 18. So after they turned 18, after the 18th year, if they decide they want to drop out, it's not something we can force them. Now, this is an example of a Washington State transcript. Here's the grade point average table. The school information is over here. Again, remember, this is all set by Washington State. Here is the coding information that colleges use and that we make sure we follow to help colleges understand what is on the transcript. It also has the information about the schools attended. So for this person, you'll see some students are taking biology in 8th grade, and they are taking the class for high school credit, which means that it's going to be on the transcript. If they choose to have it not appear on the transcript, they can make a one-time request for it to appear, not to appear on the transcript. But otherwise, it will be on the high school transcript. So this child, it's listed here 3 times because remember in middle school, it's trimester. And so it's the 3 trimesters. This student also then the next year they took an online geometry class. And so this is the online classes also appear on the transcript. They're freshmen here. These are their classes they took. Here are the grades they earned, and then moving on. So over the summer, they took another online class with a grade and so forth. So all of that information is in there. And then it also has a GPA for the final GPA for all 4 years. Here are the grades the students are receiving. We talked about the coding. So the H is the honors. The B's are usually saying that it is a college required kind of class. There's something called cadres, which you don't need to know. Just the colleges look for that coding.
It's a college preparatory class. So it shows the college that you're preparing in high school for college level curriculum.
And all of that coding is over here, right there, B, college preparation. But if a student takes Running Start courses, that is also going to be listed over here. The 8th grade classes are listed, the online courses, the honors is and advanced placement classes are also kind of coded in here so people can see what classes a person was taking. So a lot of information is on the transcript, and the transcript can be sent directly to the college, the official transcript. You have to ask the school to send it directly to the college. Usually they ask for the official or unofficial transcripts as you're applying for high school. And more information can be found on the website about that. And if you notice the link over here, once you get the slide deck, you can click on this link and all of that information is also there, and also how to ask for transcripts later on. So over here, in the bottom, it tells you exactly how many were attempted, how many were earned, and then it talks about the student's GPA. So you hear this word GPA very often, but the transcript also shows the child's final GPA that's posted on their transcript. Part of the high school requirement to graduate, students need to complete something called a high school and beyond plan. And this student had not yet graduated, so it says not met. Students need to take a Washington State history class, which most students who attended school in Issaquah School District in 7th grade, they get that and it'll say met. So a lot of information is also here. This student also took a test, language test, and they got a seal of biliteracy and saying that they are proficient in Russian, okay, because they took the Russian language test. So there's a lot of information here. Melanie, do you want to add any more that I may have missed?
No, we're getting good questions in the chat about middle school grades on the high school transcript. I think we've covered it, and we can save additional questions for that toward the end of the presentation, but we may want to come back to that at the end.
Okay, I will address two questions I just noticed in the chat. It says, what does one-time request mean? It means that you cannot say, hey, I don't want it to appear in the transcript, and then later on change your mind and say, oh, my child, has fewer credits. I actually want it to appear. You can't do that. You have to decide if it's going to be in the transcript or not. And what's the deadline for that, Melanie? Or is there one?
Students must decide by the end of their junior year, and it is advisable to wait until junior year to make that decision, since it can only be a one-time decision. That allows students to make a change before they really have an outside audience for their high school transcript.
Yeah, no one's really going to see your transcript until your junior year, probably the earliest. What are the classes that a student can take in the summer? There are several online classes available on the Issaquah School District, information available on the Issaquah School District website, such as geometry and other classes, so your PE, so you're welcome to look at that. Okay, so what information is not on the transcript? Parents very often are very fearful that certain things are going to appear on the transcript and colleges are going to find out about them. But things that are not on the transcript are if the student has a 504 or an IEP, or if they're MLL, or if they had any attendance issues, or if there were any medical or health concerns that came up, or if they had any kind of even mental health, if they would talk to the school counselor. Discipline information also does not show up in the transcript. Honestly, the only thing is a final grade at the end of the semester as reported via the report card. So a lot of things, it's very clear what is and is not in the transcript. Also, one of the big questions that parents ask often is weighted versus unweighted. All GPA in Washington State is unweighted as per Washington State law. So other states might have that, but our district and our state don't have weighted grades in general. But that's where those coding comes really much into play, because our colleges know about the rigor, if it's AP, IB, honors, whatever, based on that coding in the transcript. So we don't weigh it, but then when the colleges get your transcript, then they can better understand using that coding that's in the transcript. So next one is how to graduate from high school. Melanie.
Okay, I will take over here. There's lots of good questions in the chat that I've not yet responded to, Lorna.
Okay. A couple things. If you're asking questions, I am not as good as answering furiously in the chat. So just hold on, and once Melanie is done through all of this, when we're taking a breather, I will answer some questions in the chat. I'm sorry, I will ask the questions from the chat, and then we will answer and address them all together. And again, AP is not weighted because nothing is weighted. So it's nothing is weighted, okay? And then to calculate GPA, if a student earned an A, it would be 4 points, A minus 3.73, B plus is 3.3. So you have to add those together and then divide it. But that's how you would do it. And for 3 trimesters, they basically add them up and divide it, and then that's your final GPA for the year. So you're getting that for 1 credit. Okay. So,
Okay, before I talk about how to graduate from high school, I'll answer a couple more questions. There were some questions we've been mentioning AP and IB. So to clarify, AP stands for Advanced Placement, and IB stands for International Baccalaureate. Those are 2 programs available in high school that offer students the opportunity to take a college level class in the high school setting. So that demonstrates strong rigor in their curriculum. There's also been some questions about what is Running Start. Running Start is another program that offers students the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school. But in Running Start, they leave the high school building and they go to a nearby 2-year college where they take college classes in the college setting. These programs, AP classes, there are some AP classes that are open to 9th graders, but more of these programs become available in junior and senior year of high school. So I'll carry on with our slide deck now.
I'm going to one second quickly. A couple people asking about difference between weighted and unweighted.
Okay, so when the question about weighted comes up, in some places in the United States, school districts may choose to weight a grade so that a student who earns an A or a B in a rigorous class, that grade has more weight in their GPA, so it could raise their overall GPA. In Washington State doesn't allow that for public school transcript. So nowhere in Washington State does a student have a weighted GPA. All of the grades factor in equally, but colleges can see the rigor of the curriculum by other indications on the transcript. And they are quite capable of taking a look at many different transcripts and comparing apples to oranges in terms of understanding how a student has challenged themselves in high school. So a student from Washington State who doesn't have a weighted GPA is not at a deficit in a college application compared to a student from another state who might have a weighted GPA. It's just 2 different styles of demonstrating a student's academic progress.
That's why sometimes watching TV, you might hear someone say some kind of high school class, and they're like, oh, this person has a 4.6 GPA. That's because they're probably taking some rigorous like AP type class. And because of that, if they get an A instead of a 4, they might be getting a 5. And that's why it's weighted, and they're giving more points for those rigorous classes. But in Washington State, that doesn't happen. But again, reminder that there's no detriment and there's no penalty for Washington State students. They're as competitive as other kids. AP and IB, we'll talk about it later on, and not all high schools offer both of those, but we'll talk more about it through the course of the slides, and we're going to send you the link. If you get the slide deck, you can get a link as to what that means. Okay, take it away, Melanie.
Okay, so how do you graduate from high school? There are a number of things that you need to do to graduate from high school. Most importantly, you need to earn credit by taking classes and passing those classes, earning a passing grade. Washington State requires that a student earns 24 credits to graduate, And because we have a 7-period day in all of our high schools, our students have the opportunity to earn 28 credits over the course of high school. So they have a built-in margin of error if a student might not do well in certain classes, or they have a disruption in their education and they don't earn all 28 credits, they will still be on track to graduate. So the question can arise, what about those extra 4 credits? Like, what is their purpose? Showing additional experiences, having more chance to explore, taking more rigorous courses beyond the minimum that are required. A student who is earning more than 24 credits, that is wonderful. That is never a bad thing, but you must earn at least 24 to earn your diploma. So students need that minimum number of credits to graduate. Those credits will show that they have met that academic requirement. So if you pass 1.0 English credit in 9th grade, you've met your 9th grade English requirement. The passing grades are D or better. So the only grade that is not passing would be an F. And that means you attempted the class, but you didn't pass, and you may need to make that class up. So if it was a class necessary for graduation, like United States history, and you earned an F grade, you would be attempting that class again in order to earn the credit that you need to graduate. Each teacher does set their own percentage for a passing grade. Most of them set the percentage at 60% or better as a passing grade, but it's always important to check a teacher's syllabus. So there is a question in the chat, is it possible to earn more than 28 credits? Yes, if there are students that are taking classes, high school level classes in middle school, they will start well ahead of the game with credits already on their transcript. So they are likely to earn more than 28 credits. There's also some students who pursue classes in the summer or via an online opportunity through Running Start. And all of these students might end up with more than 28 credits as well. Okay, next
And
slide.
one thing I just wanted to mention is you have to get the 24 credits in a certain number of classes.
Yes, I think we get to that soon.
Yeah.
Here.
Perfect.
Okay, so in addition to earning credits, there's a few other things that you have to do. So those credits, just like Lorna said, you have course and credit requirements. There's specific subject areas where you must earn the credit. And there's also some flexibility in elective credits that you need. So all of those combine to your credit requirements. Another non-credit based graduation requirement is the high school and beyond plan. This is something that students are exposed to a little bit each year through middle school and high school. And the high school and beyond plan is designed to help a student through their high school experience take a little time to think about where they want to be after high school and how they can plan during high school to get there. This is presented to them in the school day. There's information up on our district website. So I know this is kind of a complicated concept, but you can learn a lot more about it on our district website. And students will participate in this exercise each year. We will make sure that we are moving them along the way toward this goal. So we have never had a student who did not graduate because of the high school and beyond plan. It's meant to really just help them continue to explore and make meaning of their high school experience as they progress through. So you're earning credits, you're each year working on a high school and beyond plan. And then a third requirement is most of our students take the state assessment, the Smarter Balance assessment, and they meet a standard on that assessment. That is just one graduation pathway requirement to meet to graduate. So if you click on graduation pathways, you can learn more about this requirement. The state of Washington has moved away from saying everybody must pass a state test in order to graduate, and provided more opportunities beyond the state test. But in all of these cases, it's a student is demonstrating a readiness for their post-high school plan. And we have up on the Family Partnership Liaison site, there is a recording of a presentation that we did on graduation pathways that we can refer to at the end of this presentation. And then lastly, in addition to your 24 credits and specific subject areas, crafting a high school and beyond plan, and meeting a graduation pathway, students must also demonstrate at some point in time that they have met the Washington State history requirement. So for students who were in our school district, this was built into their 7th grade social studies. For any student who has come to the Issaquah School District after 7th grade, there are more ways to meet or have this requirement waived. There's information up on our district website, and you can always talk with a school counselor who can give you options too. But this is a class that is available as a high school level social studies class for students who would like to pursue that later in their high school career.
Melanie?
Yes, Lorna?
Sorry, quick question. Is Washington State history available online? Do you know?
Sometimes it has been and sometimes it hasn't. I would have to check in on that, or you could visit the ISD online learning site and see if it's listed within their curriculum. I'm so sorry that I don't know the answer.
No. We can look if we have time at the end and go.
Yeah, that has changed over the years, so I don't want to give you any incorrect information.
Perfect, thank you.
So I mentioned before that as a part of your 24 credits, your student wants to earn specific subject area requirements to earn their diploma. So it's not just any 24 credits, there's also specific credits that must be included within those 24. So on this chart, we're showing the subject area on the left. In the middle, this is what's required to get a high school diploma. And this is the same for all of our high school classes, or all of our high school buildings, comprehensive buildings. And then over on the right, just to clarify, for students who are interested in going to a four-year college or university, colleges may expect a little bit more. Each college is different, but most colleges have a minimum entrance requirement. And you can see in many ways that lines up between what we require to graduate from high school and what they require, but they may get a little bit more specific. So English language arts, easy, 4 credits to graduate from high school. That's also what colleges want to see. Social studies, we get a little bit more specific about what students need to take. So it'll be 1.0 world history that they take in 9th grade. In 10th grade, they'll take 0.5 global. This is, if you had older students, this is a little bit different. Slight variation from what you might have seen for your older students, but rest assured, very similar experience. A 10th grade social studies class and global studies will meet that requirement. And then typically students take US history in junior year and civics, a semester of civics in senior year. And colleges like this too. They'd like to see 3 to 4 credits of social studies. Math, to graduate from high school, you must successfully complete Algebra 1 and geometry, and then complete a 3rd year of math that aligns to your high school and beyond plan. In Issaquah School District, we require that you've earned 3 credits of math in 9th through 12th grade. So for students who are getting a head start on high school level curriculum in middle school, we'll also be encouraging them to continue taking that through high school. Colleges are a little bit more specific. They typically want to see math through at least Algebra 2. So choosing that 3rd year math, if you are college bound, you do want to make sure that you are pursuing Algebra 2. And then colleges also would like to see students take a quantitative class in senior year. Now that doesn't have to be math. Most students do choose to take math, But if you weren't taking math, you could also take a science class that is math-based, like chemistry or physics, or a class like AP Computer Science. All of those are quantitative classes. Science, again, similarly, we need 3 credits. 2 of them must be lab science. Every class in our course catalog that begins with the code SC for science is a lab-based class. So you can rest assured your students who are taking biology, chem lab methods, physics lab methods, physics, chemistry, any class in our science department is lab-based. And that includes if students have taken it in middle school as well. Colleges may be more specific about their science requirements. We really do recommend that for sure every student interested in four-year college takes biology specifically and takes chemistry or physics specifically. Many students will choose to take all 3 of those classes, very traditional path towards meeting college entrance requirements. World language is a little bit flexible for a high school diploma. While two credits of world language is recommended for a high school diploma, students who have a different plan for life after high school other than four-year college could choose not to take world language and could take other classes that are more designed to prepare them for their post-high school plan. So for example, if a student was very interested in going into a trade, they might not take world language to free up more room in their high school schedule to pursue trade curriculum via the Running Start program while they're still in high school. And that would be appropriate to graduate. If your student has strong reading, writing, and listening and speaking skills in a language other than English, it is possible for them to earn up to 4 world language credits by taking a competency test. Now, they can't take that test until they're in high school, but once they're in high school, that test is offered at least once every year in many, many different languages. And let's say that I'm biliterate in Italian, I take that test and I show that I'm to advanced level in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, then I would get four Italian credits just for showing my competency on that test. Some students will take the competency test and earn those credits and then not take a world language in high school. Some will take the competency test, earn those credits, and also take a world language class in high school. So there's lots of options there. For art, we require 2.0 credits, although one of those, again, can be flexible. Now, this is an interesting thing. For virtually every college that I know of, I've never seen a college that requires more than 1.0 art credit. So I think that most students are very safe to choose for their second art credit, to choose a different option, a personal pathway option, because they want to pursue more rigor in another area. So a student could take 1.0 art, and then instead of the second art, they could take a 4th year of math or science or an engineering class. And that would also meet their high school graduation requirement and demonstrate rigor for college. So colleges typically want 1 credit of art as one of their entrance requirements, but they may be more specific about their art credit, wanting to see it as a more traditional fine art credit like music, dance, painting, drawing, things like that. So it's best to check the course catalog. They may not accept a more technical art like graphic design. So it's always good to check the course catalog for more description about that.
Melanie, I'm going to interrupt for a second. A parent
Yes.
is asking, because many colleges specify that they want the student to take 4 years of science or 4 years of math. So for students who've taken math, let's say Algebra 1 or geometry in 8th grade, or biology in 8th grade, that counts as part of the 4 years, correct?
Correct. Yep.
But
And
how about if they take algebra and geometry in middle school? Would
so
that count?
colleges will perceive those while while Issaquah School District will not count those towards the 3 credits you need in 9th through 12th grade for math, colleges will perceive those as math credits and recognize those as math toward meeting the college entrance requirement. And of course, the minimum entrance requirement is a good threshold to meet. Taking more than the minimum is always beneficial and strengthen your application.
Thank you, Melanie.
Okay, continuing on, oops, wait, can you go back to the last slide? So continuing on these last 3 areas, PE, health, CTE, and elective credit, these are not typically listed as college entrance requirements, but students that are exploring this curriculum, you need to take PE and health to graduate. It's a good break in your high school schedule as well. Our career and technical education classes are really great opportunities to explore your interests for life after high school. Same with your elective credits. So these are not throwaway opportunities for the purpose of going to college. This is an area where you have flexibility in your schedule to really look at and explore your interests while you're still in high school, to help you decide for your post-high school experiences what will benefit you the most. And just to point out what's written at the bottom here, all of our standard, whether you're taking a standard class, an honors class, an advanced placement class, or an international baccalaureate class, all of these classes are college preparatory classes in Issaquah School District. So if a student is pursuing Lit and Composition 1, which is our standard 9th grade English class, that is a college preparatory English class. There is not a delineation between that and honors in terms of would you meet the college entrance requirement. Honors is going to give you a little bit more of a push and rigor, but both of those are college preparatory classes and would benefit you. Okay, so next slide. Okay, this page is a useful one to see. It may look a little bit different when Skyward opens back up to the world. So we just today are going through migration to update our student information system. That's why Family Access is closed right now. But in Family Access, this is what it has previously looked like. There's a tool where you can see how your student is progressing towards meeting their high school graduation requirements. So this is a snapshot of one student, what it looked like. I expect we will see a very similar view of this when Family Access reopens after midwinter break. And we will update these images in the slide deck before we post it on the website. Anything else about that, Lorna?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so next slide. Okay, I mentioned one of the graduation requirements is graduation pathway. I'll talk a little bit more about that now. Basically, the state of Washington decided moving away from strictly offering or requiring a state assessment test to show that you're ready to graduate from high school. They wanted to create a more flexible system for students to match their requirement to their post-high school plans. So the state of Washington framed this in terms of, if you're thinking after high school of being career ready, military ready, or college ready, here are different ways that you could demonstrate your readiness in high school alongside the classes that you've taken to graduate. So let's start with college readiness for a student, whether they want to go to 2-year or 4-year college. This pathway is meant to show that a student is meeting the math and English language arts requirements that will get them to that starting college level class when they leave high school. So students might show that by taking the state assessment and earning a certain score. They might meet that by taking a college level class while they're still in high school, like an advanced placement, running start, international baccalaureate class. Or they might show it by taking a college entrance test or a college level test, like an AP exam, an IB exam. These tests are like the culmination of the class. at the end, and students get a score on that, or by taking the SAT or ACT exam. Those are two college entrance exams. So there's a lot of different ways to show that college readiness, and the idea is that you're showing it in both English language arts and in math. For the military readiness, now this could be a student who is considering the military after high school. This could be for a student who plans to go to college and then is interested in a military career. There is not a strict, you must be going directly into the military, but for a student who is interested in military as opposed to high school option, they might choose to take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. That's the ASVAB test. This test is an aptitude test that the results show some alignment to different potential military careers. So it is a great assessment for any student that just wants to explore their skills and how it might match to a career. The ASVAB test is not shared with the military unless a family chooses to do so. So this is something that you can take without ever sharing any of your information with the military. Great opportunity. It's offered at every high school at least once a year, if not more. And then for students that are thinking in a career readiness standpoint, they could choose to take a sequence of career and technical education courses, CTE courses. The career and technical education is a really robust program in our school district. These courses are framed around specific program areas like business and marketing, or STEM, or skilled and technical, human services, or health sciences. Those are examples of CTE program areas. And for a student to show some career readiness preparing towards one of these, this can also be something that gets them ready to pursue one of these subjects in college as well. They could complete a sequence of courses within one program area that's kind of enriching their path toward exploring that career. You can click on the website. Once you get the slide deck, you can click on that website to see more details. There's a lot of details up on our CTE pages on our district website. But an example would be a student who chooses to take, let's say, Sales and Marketing 1 and Sales and Marketing 2. Those are two business and marketing program area courses that is giving a student a good trajectory towards exploring that as possible career option after high school. And we had a night on high school graduation pathway back in January that was recorded, and you can see that full presentation up on the district website as well. Okay, next, oh, there we go. Okay, so we've talked about there are specific classes that you need to do, specific credits that you need to earn, but each student is really choosing their own adventure through high school. And so, the American school system is really about choices and options. There is no one set path, which can be a little daunting. It is really about each student. What I would hope for each one of our students is that they take courses that challenge them and help them grow intellectually and explore their interest areas, while also sleeping, eating, having friends, having a rich and healthy life. So for each student, what that pathway might look like can be a little bit different. And so students have a lot of options to tailor their education for themselves, which is a very American concept. Each 2-year, 4-year technical college is a little bit different in their admissions requirements. Not all students are interested in 2- or 4-year or technical college after high school and might pursue a different journey. So it is important to be thinking broadly as students are exploring where they would like to be after high school, starting to look at those at like the websites or information available, whether it's from the military or a technical trade program or a college or university of interest. Starting to look at their admissions pages can really help you get an idea of how you might use your time in high school to challenge yourself and better prepare for that opportunity. And we will be talking with your students about that through the high school and beyond plan as well. So there is an opportunity, which is great, to take a combination of classes. So there's not one set track that you get on and you can't veer off. You really do get to choose what is right for you. Some students might take one honors class or one AP class, and the rest of their classes are college preparatory. Other students might say, no, I'm ready for 2 or 3 advanced placement classes. Same thing with International Baccalaureate later in high school. You could take just one class, you could take a series of classes, or you could pursue the IB diploma. All of these are different options. Running Start, like I said, is a program available in 11th and 12th grade where the student leaves the high school to take classes, college level classes on the college campus. Some students take half of their day at the high school and half of their day at the college. Other students choose to take all of their classes at the college. Some students might choose just to do one class at the college and all of the rest at the high school. So there's a lot of ways to mix and match in your education. We mentioned here WANIC and online classes too, just to give you more options. WANIC is a program, it's a consortium of schools that allow a student who is interested in a specific career and technical education class that might not be offered in their district to travel to a different school district to take that class. And we share the students. So a student might take half of their day at Issaquah High School, and they might travel to Bellevue School District to do half of their day in an automotive program that Bellevue offers. So that's one example of WANIC. There's many different programs, really great program for later in high school, and taking a look at their website will help you learn more. And then our district has the ISD online learning program. And through this program, students can also choose to take online classes as a part of their high school experience. So there could be a class that we don't offer in person, but is offered online, or it could be that a student is pursuing an online class for flexibility in their schedule or a difference in the learning environment that is well suited to them. So that's another great opportunity. You can learn more about that program on the district website as well. All of these different pathways could be right for different students for different reasons. So it is a lot to take in, but over the course of time, learning more about these, especially as your student is approaching 11th grade year, where more of these options become available, really great thing to do throughout high school. Okay, next slide. Okay, so then we often get some questions. Okay, you've told us about the classes that we need to take, but tell us more about these tests. We've heard all about these tests that are important in high school. So like I said, when I was talking about the graduation pathway, Washington State has done away with saying there is one test that you must take, state level test, to graduate from high school. That is no longer the case. So there's more flexibility. So students will be expected to take a Smarter Balance assessment test in English and math in 10th grade. The state does require us to administer that test to all 10th graders. Some students will use that test to meet their graduation pathway. Other students may not, but it is not a strictly requirement to graduate from high school. You may also hear about some other tests in high school, like the SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test, or ACT. So these are college entrance exams. It used to be that virtually all colleges required one of these scores as a part of their college application. Now it is moving more toward most colleges considering one of these tests as an option to include in your application, but not a strict requirement. But I must say the colleges do vary. So some schools still do require it. And this is something that you'd want to consider as you're learning more about colleges, especially highly selective colleges, to carefully check and see if they do require it. It's a great opportunity to prepare for and take one of these tests. Then you have a score whether you need it or not. and it will give you some good insight about college readiness. But it is not the same, quite the same high stakes everybody must have for a college entrance that it used to be. We also have been mentioning advanced placement in international baccalaureate classes throughout this presentation. Both of these classes, so these are advanced placement is a national program, and international baccalaureate, like it suggests, is an international program to provide college level rigor in the high school. And both of these programs, while they're different from each other, they have in similarity that the class is meant to prepare you through the course of the year to sit an exam at the end of the year. And based on the outcome of that exam, not the class itself, but the outcome of the exam, you might have the opportunity to earn college credit. Each college sets their own policies on how they would take these exams to award credit or waive a requirement. They vary. Not all colleges take every AP score or IB score for college credit. So it is just a variable. Whether or not you get college credit for the class itself will demonstrate rigor on your high school transcript and will give you that deeper dive in high school that's strengthening your academic skills. So when you get to college, you're more ready to hit the ground and dive in, being ready and well prepared. So should you take one of these classes and sit the exam, that may or may not relate to college credit. AP is unique in that you can take that test whether you took the class or not. So we have some students who may be biliterate and feel like they've got the reading, writing, listening, speaking skills to sit an AP exam in Mandarin and pass that test without ever having taken an AP Mandarin class. So that is an option. There could be other students who choose to self-study in a different subject like psychology and sit the exam without taking the class. International Baccalaureate, which is offered at Skyline, is different. You must take the class in order to take the test. And you can't take those tests until the end of 11th or 12th grade. So each of those programs is a little bit different. I think that I've seen some questions in the chat about, well, is there a way where I can take both of these, both AP and IB? Next year, Skyline will be introducing some AP courses as a part of their course catalog. The course catalog is expected to go live shortly after midwinter break. So you can look at, I would say probably the first week of March, you can expect to see the updated course catalog for next year. And you'll see some new classes in there that have not previously been offered at Skyline. There is not a plan to, at this time, to introduce IB at either Issaquah or Liberty High School for next year. So those programs have AP but do not have IB. And then lastly, you may have heard about the PSAT. That's a preliminary scholastic aptitude test. We offer this test during a school day in October every year to all 10th and 11th graders. So that is a great way, just as a part of your regular school day, to get an idea of what an SAT or ACT test might be like. A very low stakes opportunity, and it just gives you an idea of a predictor for what an SAT score might look like. So that's a great opportunity for all of our 10th and 11th graders. Okay, Lorna, next. Okay, other programs in the high school for students that are multilingual learners. You may have heard of ESL or ELL in the past. Our district calls this multilingual learner program. So students who are in a multilingual program in middle school and have not yet tested out of that program will continue to receive multilingual support as they enter high school. And multilingual teachers at the middle school will partner with their peers at the high school to ensure we've got a good transition for these students. The students annually will take the WIDA test, W-I-D-A. I can't remember what it stands for. But that test is typically administered February and March, and that shows a student's English language proficiency level. So students who have not yet reached proficiency level to test out of the program will still have the access to that support when they enter the high school. And in high school, students in the multilingual program will take one English language development class from a certified multilingual language teacher. So that class is really important for students because it focuses on the academic language that will help them succeed in their content classes so they can really thrive from our high school's English, language arts, social studies, science class. That English language development class is meant to leverage them in to get more out of their experience as they're continuing to grow their English language skills. Reading, writing, and listening and speaking that academic rather than conversational English language is really critical as students progress through school and post-high school. Okay, next slide. Okay, so throughout high school, there are some supports available. As the district counseling coordinator, my favorite support is school counselor, which you will have available to you in every high school. You have school counselor right now in middle school who is there to support you as well. So what does the school counselor do in high school? We work across 3 domains. So we are really thinking academically, socially, emotionally, and in college and career planning. How are we supporting a whole child towards progressing towards their high school diploma and being ready for their life after high school? So in academic support, we would be tracking a student's progress towards meeting their graduation requirements. We provide advice and support for students and families over the course of high school in choosing courses that are a good fit for them and preparing them for their post-high school plans. And making sure that if there's anything that a student is missing to earn their high school diploma, that we're communicating with the student and the family to ensure that they know how they can meet that requirement. And just troubleshooting, providing information about all these academic opportunities that we're talking about. This is not the last time that you can get information about these programs. High school counselors throughout high school can provide additional information. In the social emotional area, this is, working through high school, students are taking on a lot, and there's many things going on for them as they are developing. They are dealing with, the weird experience of, up to 2,000 teenagers all in one building together. That can be a lot socially, emotionally. We know that anxiety and depression is in the rise in schools and across the country and the world. And when school counselors are thinking about the social and emotional needs of students, what we are thinking about is not this is a stigma or something that a student should be fearful about or have to hide. We are here to support them dealing with anything that may be an obstacle to them accessing their education. And so this is a great opportunity for a student to come and partner with us to talk about what might be a barrier to their education. And we can work with them to come up with some solutions about how to proceed forward. We want to keep students healthy and well and feeling safe, because when they're healthy, well, and feeling safe, then they can succeed in pursuing their post-high school goals and accessing their education. And then lastly, throughout high school, we are also thinking about where the student wants to be after high school and helping them prepare for college or career or whatever may come next. Okay, next slide. So each school website has a link to counseling. You can find that on right in the top. I think it's under student, and then you'll see counseling there. For each student, they have a, oh, yep, here we go. See, there's Issaquah High School. Under student life, counseling is listed, and then you see an example of many fine counselors right there. And just below that, you'll see College and Career Center, and we'll talk about them in a minute too. So many things that you can find both on the website and in our counseling departments to support your students. Okay, let's come back to this a little bit later, Luna.
Just mentioning that all of the 3 high schools, their websites look exactly the same.
Yeah,
And so it's going to be listed in the same place on all 3 sites.
Yep, student life and then counseling. So just like in middle school, the high school counselor is assigned based on a student's last name. And you can go to our district website and see the names and the information about the high school counselors listed there. You can also see it on the high school's website. Typically, you might have the same counselor all through your high school experience. Sometimes we have staff changes, so we can't guarantee that it'll be the same person, but typically a student is assigned their last name and they carry through with the same counselor all through high school. Something that I want to emphasize here is once a student is in the high school, that is when we can really support them. As you are in 8th grade and preparing for high school, we do ask that you continue to partner with your middle school counselor who can help you with those choices in preparation for high school. The high school is working really hard to meet all of the needs of their students and help their seniors prepare for life after high school. So they're not yet ready to meet with middle school students prior to the start of their high school career. So when a student is in high school, typically for quick questions, they can drop in. It could be before school, after school, during lunch. We try and make ourselves as available as possible. They can also schedule an appointment. If the counselor doesn't happen to be there when they drop in, they can schedule an appointment or email the counselor to schedule an appointment. And it can depend on school. We really want them to be able to access their classes when instruction is being taught. But we will also work to meet their needs so that we can be creative in meeting with them, maybe during flex time or toward the end of a period leading into lunch so that they can get the support they need as well. Also, typically emailing with students quite a bit through their high school career. And then families that want to access a counselor during the school day, it may be difficult to just drop in and see a counselor because we really are trying to prioritize time to see students wherever possible while they're in the building. But if you contact a counselor ahead of time to schedule an appointment, we can have a plan to make sure that we're available when you're coming in. Like I said, your middle school counselors are well-versed in making those choices for that first year of high school. So as you're looking through the course request process, you're looking at the course catalog, you have questions about those basics, your middle school counselor is the right person to start with rather than a high school counselor. Okay. Next slide. And then also in the high school, we have a College and Career Center. So there are 2 college and career specialists that we have for the building in addition to the school counseling department. These 2 departments work closely together. And the College and Career Center is a resource for students, helping them dive deeper into thinking about life after high school. They can help with the high school and beyond plan work. They can help students who have no idea what they want to do after high school start to explore. They might help with resume writing. They know about volunteer, internship, job opportunities. They typically are scheduling reps that come to the campus to see our students. So that could be college representatives who are eager to meet our students and let them know about the college opportunities. They coordinate scholarship, all kinds of things. Really amazing program. Encourage your student when they are in high school to definitely take advantage of this program. Okay, next slide.
Of the center, yeah. Visit the center starting in 9th and 10th grade for sure.
Yep. Okay. So we talked a little bit about college entrance requirements when we were talking about what classes you need to graduate from high school and how colleges might want a little bit more than what the high school requires for a diploma. And we also talked about some tests, SAT or ACT, that are traditional college entrance exams. But I think something that you want to keep in mind is that there is no way for us to tell you everything that you would need to get into any college, because every college is different. And the best way that you can prepare is to explore more about colleges as you go through high school. So there's some general rule of thumb. We want students to challenge, if they're interested in college after high school, challenging yourself, taking on more rigor, making sure that you're choosing a rigor that's healthy for you so that you can also be earning strong, solid grades, and be a healthy and well-rounded student, sleeps at night, is involved in things outside of the classroom that shows their leadership skills and extracurriculars. All of these factors are things that colleges look at in terms of considering students. So it is not like some educational programs outside of the United States where you sit one test, and based on that one test, it determines where you might go to college. This, in America, it is really a collection of information you're gathering about yourself to share with a college. That can include your grades, the academic rigor, written essay, your resume that shows your extracurricular activities, could include an SAT score. All of these things bundled together to tell a college about you. And then the college will look at that for their needs and say, yes, this feels like this is a good fit, or they might not. And so each college is different. Colleges in the United States vary from very wide admittance policy, where everyone is welcome, to very highly selective, where even the most exceptional student is not guaranteed to get in because seats are so available and the demand may be much higher than the number of seats the college can offer. So it varies really greatly, and learning more about the college while you're in high school can help you plan accordingly for your needs. I mentioned before the High School and Beyond Plan. Students who are doing the High School and Beyond Plan, they're doing that on a website called Zello, which I think we're going to reference a little bit later in this slide deck. So Zello is a website where students they'll go log in through ClassLink and then click on Zello within ClassLink. That's where their High School and Beyond Plan tasks happen. And in that platform, at the top, there is an explore button. And one of the things they can explore is different colleges. So that's a great way just to learn about a wide variety of colleges, what those colleges are like, what they have to offer students, and what they might be requiring of students as well. Anything more here, Lorna?
No, we're good. The reason college entrance requirement, this slide we put in because many times parents were confused as they were getting into high school because they didn't understand the big picture. Like, why are we doing this? What does this mean? And so that's why our recommendation is, well, look at some of the colleges your child might be interested in. Go and look at the admissions page. Do some research about the kind of colleges your child might be interested in, and that'll help you do a little bit of backwards planning, right? And just keeping in mind, though, children might change their mind and they might have other majors, because very often parents are so fixated on my child has to take all the AP classes, the highest math class, the most number of science classes, the highest or the most number of AP classes. But is that really what the college or that the program that they might be pursuing is asking the child to complete? And that's why we are recommending that parents and students also explore the admissions requirements. And so you kind of have an idea as to what your big picture is. What's the goal of all of these classes you're taking? And the good news, as Melanie said, in high school, students will be encouraged to do the high school and beyond plan activities, which includes doing a lot of exploration in a platform known as Xello. And I'll show you more about that next few slides, hopefully. So the next slide is high school athletics. So high school athletics is a lot more options, has a lot more options than middle school. And again, the school district website has a lot of information. So all of them look exactly the same and their organization. So under student life, they're going to see the activities, which will be all the clubs, and the athletics, which will be all the sports, and the sports are divided into 3 seasons. And so your child is going to look for fall sports, winter sports, spring sports, and there are many options for each of those sports. So note the number of options for the sports. Some of them are for boys only, and some of them are girls only. There are a few that are co-ed, so you can see which one is which for this is, and it's different seasons. Also, just keep in mind, sports start a lot earlier than you would expect. So, for example, fall sports, a lot of the fall sports, the students are starting to do workouts and meeting all the way in early in August. And so make sure you're looking at the important dates. And in the athletics page, you're going to see that it also has a registration form. So make sure that you complete the final forms, they're called. It's its own platform called Final Forms. So you're going to go to this final form platform, and there's a parent login and student login. Parents have to fill out some forms, students have to fill out some forms. Other expectations are also physicals. The school students need to have a physical, and that physical information is also on the website. It's good for 2 years. So if you're going to be taking your child to the doctor anytime the next couple of months, you might want to make sure the physical is done. And there's actually a form. The school district has a form, and you should print it out. You can see the doctor has our form, but it's available so that I took my form with me to my doctor's, my pediatrician, so they can have it all done. And then note there are fees associated with sports. And so let's talk more about what those fees would look like. So if I have the links to all the athletic pages on my deck, and also to note that on our presentation, we actually did a presentation just about athletics and activities. And all of these presentations that I've done in the past, many parents were asking questions about WANIC and running start. And so all of my previous presentations I have done are listed. And even this presentation, I will be posting it as soon as the recording is ready under the middle and high school tab over here under resources, family partnership. So programs and services, family partnership, resources. And when you go to resources, you'll see that I did a presentation on athletics and activities in secondary. Last year's transition event is here. Some of the frequently answered questions is here. Information about running start. It's a slide deck and a recording. Financial information. Melanie referred to the high school graduation pathway. This is a big picture, the high school and beyond information. That's over here. And WANIC. Someone asked about WANIC. Washington Network for Innovative Careers, what that program is, what are the options, what are the classes, all of that is also over here. This one I need to delete because that one will be different for this year. They changed our entire Skyward. So I will be updating this also as Skyward is updated for next school year. But so that's a great resource for families wanting to learn more about athletics and activities. So clubs and extracurricular opportunities, the high schools have a tremendous number of clubs, and students have many opportunities to sign up for and participate in clubs. There's also a great way for them to show leadership because in the different clubs, they might have presidents and vice presidents. The clubs are also very varied. Some clubs are select clubs where you have to be in a certain class or activity. to be in that club, like DECA and other clubs, you can just go to the club and you can participate and be part of it. So again, for those of you who have never attended a school, a public school, note that in our public schools here, we have something called an ASB, an Associated Student Body. Usually all students put some money in, there's a cost, and then this allows the school to collect money to help pay and offset the cost of clubs and sports in the school district. And ASB student website. So this gives you some club information over here. So club list and contact information. I'm just putting this out here so you can see the very, very many number of clubs available um, at Skyline, for example, baking club, band, badminton club, Chinese club, chess club, chemistry club, car club, cancer awareness club. So many clubs available at Skyline. So there are many clubs available at all three of our schools, and they're very varied. So not all of the schools will have the exact same options in clubs. And if your child is interested in starting a club of their own, they're welcome to do that. They can talk to the ASB advisor. They need to get a certain number of students involved who are interested in it to start a club. And so there are many options for students. And the reason we encourage this, it's a great way, especially for ninth graders, to feel connected, to make new friends, to connect with other students. It's also very important for students' social well-being. There are after-school buses, by the way, just like in middle school. It doesn't stop at the exact same site as a regular bus stop, but there are transportation for clubs Monday through Thursday. Very often, most clubs don't meet on Fridays. When the clubs meet, in August, the day before school starts, very often ninth graders will have information like an event and kind of an open house for ninth graders, and they have all the clubs. People who are in different clubs kind of do a presentation. They bring a little board to showcase and highlight their club to encourage other kids to join their clubs. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people have been asking about volunteer opportunities. The College and Career Center does sometimes have a site that posts volunteer opportunities. There's a link on the school district website that has a volunteer opportunity list. It's all kind of connected to the Skylines one. And so we'll talk about some general volunteer opportunities for students in the district. And different organizations can submit volunteer opportunities. But one of the things to note is it's not required to graduate. We just encourage students to participate in volunteer hours because it really helps with their growth, with their understanding, and also it makes them feel good to be contributing to society. Also, it looks good on college applications. It also builds leadership opportunities or leadership for students. For some schools, there's a log available on the PTSA site, so students can keep track of their volunteer hours. In general, I would recommend that you help your child keep track of what activities and volunteer hours they're doing, because when they're creating their resume, when they're writing about themselves as they apply for colleges, this is good information that they might want to share with a prospective college about themselves and their interest and their participation in community service. Now, we have three comprehensive high schools, but we also have a project-based high school, and that high school's name is Gibson Eck. It is a smaller school with approximately 200 students, and the students work very closely with the advisor, their teacher, and through this, they have opportunities to deeply explore their interests. For example, I volunteer a lot at the fish hatchery, and the fish hatchery has about 3 to 5 Gibson Eck interns that work with them. They do many things at the hatchery, including uh, gathering some information, supporting um, the fish and wildlife with counting the salmon and so forth. Different organizations in the community, different people have have students who are student interns. So the students do a lot of projects as part of their work, and that they have community internships for that. That's part of the program, the project-based program, and it's to help students prepare for opportunities after high school, including college, technical school, and or employment. So Gibson Neck, because of the snow, they had to change their open house, which is great for all of you who may be interested in it. And so the open house now is after our February break from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And you can visit the enrollment page to get some more information. The applications are now open and they close on March 14th. And it's an application and it's based on a lottery system. So on March 17th, they will create a list and certain number of people will be accepted as part of the lottery, and everybody else will be put on a wait list. And so you can communicate with the school to see if you're not selected to be in Gibson Neck, where you are on the waiting list in the lottery to see, potential of being accepted. But if you are not accepted into Gibson Neck, your home school will also have a spot for you. So you can learn more about Gibson Neck through that link, um, and it'll take you straight to their website. So then you can learn more information about Gibson Neck. So again, it's right over here. Okay. Next, general reminders. Several people have asked about special ed. And if your child has an IEP, your child's IEP will automatically follow your child to the high school. The case manager in middle school will work with the case manager in high school, so that your child has this transition to the high school. And then the other one to note, sorry. Okay. The other one to note is your 504 plan. If your child has a 504, same thing. The school 504 coordinators will work together to get the information passed. The teachers in the high school will also get your child's 504. It actually appears automatically. I'm sure there's behind the scenes work through the counseling department, but all the teachers have access to students' 504 in our information system, Skyward Plan. Lunch, same thing. If you have money in your child's lunch account in eighth grade, any leftover money will automatically follow your child to high school. It's the same lunch number, same system. I personally think that there is a lot more food options in high school. Students stay on campus, ninth and 10th grade, and in all of the schools, only starting their junior year are students allowed to leave campus for lunch. Some kids will say otherwise, but really, ninth and 10th graders should stay on campus for lunch. Transportation, school buses, your route might change because you have a different location for the school. And so again, the last week, the week before school starts, please make sure you go to the transportation website to look and see what your new route is. And there's, of course, transportation 9th through 12th grade if you're eligible, depending on where you live from the school. Activity buses, again, as I said, are available Monday through Thursday. No activity buses on Friday. Students will be getting their laptops. Usually, most of the high schools that I'm familiar with give their laptop the first week of school. So the students, again, will be turning in their laptops at the end of the school year if they are currently Issaquah School District students, and be collecting their laptops the first week of school in ninth grade. You can check grades as always in Canvas. A parent asked on the registration questionnaire, what is the communication with teachers like in high school? Well, it's very similar to middle school, where teachers post information, make comments on assignments via Canvas. As a parent of a high school child right now, I get information sent to me. So very often my daughter's teachers, when they send her emails about upcoming tests, retakes, study for this, in class, we're going to be doing this project, they very often click the button and the parent also gets the information. To me, Canvas is the primary mode of communication between parent and teachers. So it's the parents' really role to check Canvas frequently to see how their child is doing, to see what comments are made for assignments, if assignments are missing, if they're not passing a class, and so forth. So please make sure that you're looking at your Canvas grades and information. I will also be doing, if you're brand new to a school district and have no idea what Canvas is, I will be doing a presentation in September to help teach parents about Canvas and how to best utilize it to get information for your child. In family access, that is now going to be called cumulative. We can't show it to you because it literally is getting some work done and a new update and new look. But when it's open again, you'll be able to check your child's attendance. Attendance is really important in high school, so make sure your kids are not going on long trips or anything because it's very hard to make up work. Um, it just because things are going at a much faster pace in high school than they do in elementary and middle school. Also, one of the things I love is a page that Melanie made in Family Access, which is a graduation requirement, the milestone page, and that really helps me understand where my child is as she's progressing towards graduation. Is she meeting all her class requirements? So a lot of parents have asked, I don't understand the system. How do I know my child is on track to graduate? Well, there will be a tool. So don't worry. We're not expecting you to somehow create an Excel spreadsheet and check off everything they need. There's a tool to help you with it. And also in Zello or whatever we use for high school and beyond, there will be a tool to help you as a parent and to help the student ensure that they're on track to graduate. Um, are you allowed to bring your personal laptop? And the teachers are going to say no because they have a lot of programs and also there's like some features to ensure that kids are not cheating on laptops. So I will say no. Your child can ask their teacher about that for more if they have more questions about that. Uh, Eighth grade transition night. So this is just really an overall because when there will be another information night from your specific school, the high school counselors will be presenting to all of the eighth graders at each of the high school. And the specific dates, I actually think I already have them here. So for Skyline is on March 5th, Issaquah High School. It's on March 4th and 5th. It's based on your last name. So check the bulletins to get more information. And Liberty High School, February 25th. So these days they will do more information and they'll really give you a lot more information on the state about course selection because right now the course catalogs are not available. And so they're going to go more into details as to what kind of classes and choices and information to help you prepare as you transition for and choosing your courses. So it's really more about course registration for these events. But don't think I have it listed over here, but the day before school starts in August, all of the high schools do welcome new students, including ninth grade night. I love that night. It's a lot of rah-rah, the band's there, all the clubs are there, booths and tables are set up to show kids what kind of clubs are there. A lot of parents are there, so it's a great time to see other parents, meet other students and parents. They do tours of the school, so look for that. It's usually the day right before school actually begins. And that day you will also find out your child's class schedule because they don't post class schedule till literally the day before. Sometimes a couple days before that, I know, but usually for sure the day before school starts. So that is a great day to kind of check your schedule, walk around school so you know kind of where you're going, especially if your child has anxiety about moving or attending a big high school, because our three high schools, especially Squire and Skyline, are pretty massive and can be crowded, as you all know. So it might be a great way to help introduce them to the school, do a tour if they haven't done one already. Um, Plans can be flexible, so just know that you might have to adjust as your child is going through high school. And this is really, really very much a general overview of high school. There's a lot more to learn about high school. And as you saw on the website, we do have a lot of resources. So one of the things that you need to know is don't stress out because high school is a lot. This was a lot of information we provided. A lot of information, more information will come to you and will be provided to you as needed as you progress through the next 4 years. The course guide is coming out, I think, Melanie, early March.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct. It should be by the first week of March. I expect to see it up on the district website and on the school websites.
And so when you come to these different events, you can talk to other high school families and students about high school just to get an idea of which clubs, extracurricular activities, different classes they like, because reading the course catalog sometimes it's a lot of different options. You know, what might be interesting to my child. When talking to other kids, they might say, "Oh, I really enjoyed this class. I really like this class." Might give you ideas on what classes, but also I caution you not to get a lot of pressure. There's a lot of parent and student pressure to take certain classes, to take all the AP or IB classes, to go on different pathways. You know, allow your child to really choose options and classes that are best for them. So if you don't already subscribe or get the weekly bulletins, please make sure you're doing so. If you have any questions, please email your child's middle school counselor for questions for this year. Next year, you can ask your child's high school counselor starting in September. Give them a little break because August, September, counselors are super, super busy with balancing schedules and answering parent and student questions. Attend your school's incoming night, as I'd given you the dates a little earlier. Your child and you should attend the freshman orientation night. Look for the date and time for that. And finally, really spend some time talking to your child as to what they learned about school, about high school preparation, talking about Zello. I know that when my child started doing her Zello activity, she came home and she started telling me, "Oh, mom, I'm really interested in a career in, public policy," and like just saying stuff to me. And I'm like, what is happening? What conversation are we having? And then, I talked to her and she said, "Oh, I did this career interest survey and I found out this about me and it told me that I might be interested or be good at this kind of a job." I was like, "Oh, interesting." And so that really led to some good productive conversations to get her thinking and help me help her prepare for post high school and also considering what classes she should be taking. So conversations with your child are really helpful. And just note, parents have access to Zello also. There's something called Zello Family. So if you have not already seen the presentation, you can access that or you can email me and I'll send you a link on how to look at your Zello account. And with that, we have now come to the end of our presentation. I encourage all of you to fill out the feedback form because if you complete the feedback form, I can actually send you this entire slide deck. And once I get my recording downloaded into YouTube, I can send that to you also. But it also I like my slide deck. I made it, of course, I like it, but for me, going through the website can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes because there's just so much information. And so I hope that I provided you with some links so that you can find some information about high school a little bit easier. Okay. See other questions. NJHS and NHS. NJHS is National Junior Honor Society, which many of our students are in middle school. But in high school, that becomes National Honor Society. And that's for students with a certain grade point average. And then they will have some requirements. And it's kind of a club, but it's with requirements to be part of that club. And you'll be invited to join that based on your GPA. And then there might be other requirements such as some community service hours, and some other things that you should be doing. Um, okay, so at this time, are there any questions in your chat that you want to address right now, Melanie? So you're not doing as much typing?
I think we've hit a lot of the questions along the way, rather than scan through to find the ones that we haven't, it might be best to stop recording and open option for questions.
Okay, before I stop recording, I'm going to answer one question. It was, does the ISD have an exchange program? We do not have any kind of exchange program through the ISD, but I did want to show something. One of the big questions that was in the chat was regarding bell schedules and so forth. So if you go to our schools, there is something called bell schedule, and under bell schedule you'll see the schedule for high school. High school schedule is different because Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays they have something called non-block, and they have one schedule, and then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays they have a different schedule. It can be confusing for some students, but honestly it's really not that. They get used to it really quickly, but they have a block schedule. And so they have longer time in their classes. They have 4 periods on Tuesdays and a longer time, about 80 minutes each. And on Wednesdays, they have 80 minutes each again, except it's 3 classes. And so the high school schedule is on here. So that's something you can share with your child so they can become familiar. So sometimes some kids may have some anxiety and questions. They want to get ready for high school. These are things that you might want to share with them, so it'll help them. Also on here, you can see a lot of the information is posted over here for you. We talked about transcripts, there's more information, and then Melanie was talking about course guide. The course guide will be posted here starting in March, and it has a lot of information. So just give yourself some time and don't let it overwhelm you. You know, ask questions of others, of me, of the family liaison as needed. We also had someone ask, what is our email address? Remember, my website is under Programs and Services, Family Partnership. I have a lot of resources that are available right here. And then our contact information, someone's asking, what is my email address? And it's right, you can click this link and I'll get it. And I'm also the one who send you the Zoom link for today. So all of you have my email address if you have questions. So when selecting okay, so elective selection is at the same time as you do your course selection. And if you change address within the school district, if your school changes, so let's say you move from, let's say, Lakemont area, which is up by Cougar Mountain area, and you move to Klahani, then your child will move from Issaquah High to, they'd be attending Skyline. Okay, so if you move within the Issaquah boundary, your child has to then attend that new high school. So you'll still be accepted to that high school. You just have to move to the other high school. And if you move in the middle of the year, same thing. Transition from Issaquah High School to Skyline and vice versa. I'm not sure why you would do that unless your family is moving. The only other time you might do that is if you're trying to and applying for open enrollment, which is you're trying to, maybe let's say you are a person who lives in Skyline, but you want your child to attend Issaquah High School, and in which case you're going to, beginning March 12th and ending in April 30th, you can then apply for open enrollment to have your child attend Issaquah High School instead of Skyline next school year. Just so you know, the schools are very overcrowded, very, very, very overcrowded. And so it's hard to get into the schools, especially Issaquah High, because it's so overcrowded. It's usually a one in and one out type situation for that. Okay, I think I have answered. Oh, let me see. Course guide, I asked you, Melanie. Lunch, we answered. Math progression. So there were many questions in the chat that I did not address about course selection, especially about math. And I didn't answer that because you're going to get more guidance on it through the counselor presentation. And at that time, you will get more information. And also when the new course catalog comes out, you will get more information about math pathways and classes, because there's a beautiful little kind of a pathway guide. So If you're in Algebra 2, what are your other options? What's your next option? It's kind of showing you the flow as to what classes you can take as your child moves from grade to grade. There were also many questions asked about sports being considered electives. Sports are not considered electives. Sports are sports. It's extracurricular. However, if you are in certain sports, it is possible for one of your credits. I think it's only 1.5 credit, right, Melanie? Or is it one full credit?
Up to 1.0.
Up to 1.0 can, if you take sports, you need to work with your school counselor, and certain number of sports seasons can count towards a PE credit.
Each season can count for 0.25 waiver for up to 4 seasons.
Okay, so participating in sports for 4 seasons, your child could earn 1 credit of PE. And remember, your child needs 1.5 PE credit for high school graduation. And there are other ways. You can also do online PE. You can do PE later on in Running Start, but there are other options. And then the schools, like Issaquah High School, my daughter goes there, so I know, has a yoga class. It has a weight training class. And taking PE in high school is not a bad thing because honestly, kids need a brain break because they have so many classes, and it's just a class to talk to other kids without as much homework, and a time for them to have a brain break sometimes, because we do not want our kids struggling with anxiety and stress because of their class load. Okay, did I stop recording?
I think so.
Oh, good.
Lorna, another
Okay.
question I'm seeing in the chat is, when do students make their course requests? So my understanding is that between March 5th and March 21st, that's when students will be tasked with submitting their course requests on student access. It won't open up until March 5th, and then they have to submit by March 21st.
2 more questions. If, let's say, your child starts 9th grade, and then your child moves, or your family moves to another school, either in the Issaquah School District. Okay, so it's in the Issaquah School District, no problem. All our schools, all the computer systems are connected. The information just easily transferred to the other high school. If you're going to another school district, also super easy. When you apply and you enroll in that other school district, that other school district says, hey, Issaquah, give us information, and then we can send all of the credit information to the other high school. In the state or in the country, we share all of that, because in high school, because of the whole credit thing in all the states, it's the high schools are always wanting to know what credits you have, because that'll determine what your graduation pathway is, and that's no matter what school district in the state, or even probably in the country, they're going to want to know what your previous credits or what you're coming in with.
Lauren, I just got another great question in the chat. The question was, is course sign up first come, first serve? So I wanted to share some information there. In the spring, we ask all students to make to submit their course requests. So in that March 5th through March 21st window, there's no priority there. It's we want everyone to get all of their course requests in. You aren't at an advantage because you submitted at the earliest possible moment. Everybody has that window to submit all of their requests. And then once we've received all of those requests, then the high school principals start putting together a master schedule based on the courses that students requested. So if we have only 30 students request yoga, then only one section of yoga will be put into the master schedule. If 90 students request yoga, then probably 3 periods of yoga will be put into the master schedule. So it is important what students request in the spring. That does determine how we will build our master schedule. And students may want to continue to make lots of changes after this March window, but we do not have unlimited time to change your course requests. There isn't a first come, first serve, but once we have all of those course requests, then we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we can have a schedule that works for teachers. We've got classrooms. We spend April, May, June, July, August putting that together. And then after that, once we release the schedule for students, they'll see it before the first day of school. Then any remaining seat availability would be dependent on whether or not there's still a seat free in that classroom. So at that point, if all of the seats are taken in yoga, then no more students can take yoga. So I hope that's sort of a long answer, but I hope that is helpful. Taking those choices seriously, but don't rush. Take all the way up through the 21st to get your choices right, and that'll help us build a good master schedule for you.
Also, as a parent of a high schooler, I'm going to tell you that it is possible that you can sign up for an elective, a not so common elective, and it might just not fit in your child's schedule because the time that that elective is being taught is the same time as this other really important class your child wants to take is also being taught. And so it depends on how many sections of a class is being taught and if you can get that class. So keep that in mind. Another question asked was, do music electives count as art credit? And the answer is yes, that is part of your fine arts. So orchestra, band count, and choir. And is there auditions for music courses? Probably only for certain courses. The ninth grade entry level classes, I don't think there are. I actually never been asked this question before. So as you're registering, you can, with the counselor in March or February, whenever, you can check in with the high school counselors if there is a audition. It's probably for only specific competitive or like jazz band type things that are more skill-based, a different group rather than the general band class or orchestra class or choir class. It's 8:36. We're happy to take more questions, but if you are done, you're welcome to leave us and note. I will be sending you, if you filled out the feedback form, I will send you the recording and the slide deck. And if you did not feel like, if you don't feel like filling out the feedback form, you're just going to wait for it to be posted, it will be in my resource page under family partnership. My child gets past regular classes through online. If she wants to take AP, how are the scores counted in GPA? So
Online classes through the ISD online learning program also receive a letter grade, and they factor into GPA just like other classes do. It is important to note that Issaquah School District focuses on providing access to online classes through ISD online learning. So some families might be pursuing classes through an online provider outside of the district, and there's no guarantee that those will be accepted towards our high school transcript.
I'm only hoping that you're not asking, if you're taking a regular class and then you take that exact class as an AP, it's like if they take a economics class and then AP economics, it's two different classes, but it's probably going to be counted as electives.
I think AP economics is a CTE class.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Let's see. One more question asked. Is Flash unit part of PE? It would be part of health.
Correct, health.
And health can be taken anytime during high school. Okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I know this was a very long session and a lot of information was shared, but
Can I see
please
the
note.
chat? No. What is she doing?
Jennifer, do you have a question? Yes, so please attend the high school counselor session later this month or in March, whenever yours is at. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Take care, everyone. Melanie and I will stay here for a few minutes if you have any questions, but otherwise, goodbye and good night.
Thanks so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
There's a question in the chat right now. Online course registration is closed. Will it get opened later on this year? Yes, I believe that in early March, there will be information about online course registration for both summer and the fall, as well as in-person summer school.
The district has really expanded our online program, and so they have really improved. They have a lot more classes online. So they closed it online because of it's for this semester. They'll open it again for the summer online classes.
There's a question, is there a PE waiver in high school? Yes and no. That is a little bit more complicated. That's a great question to bring to a school counselor who can answer in more detail. And then a question, when do we find out when we meet with counselors about choosing courses? So I think after the counselors present to the school, and I think we had I'm trying to find a slide.
I have
That
it.
should happen right after midwinter break and before, say.
So Skyline is March 5th. Q&A on March 6th. That's when you could ask for Skyline. Issaquah High is March 4th and 5th. And Liberty High School is February 25th.
So after you've heard that general information and seen the course catalog, then that's a great time to ask any individual questions to your current counselor.
Counselors don't sit with students or parents one-on-one with the course.
Correct.
So they're going to do a big presentation, and then that should give you enough information to choose your classes. And then you can email with a middle school counselor for specific questions and guidance to help you know. And they'll also give you resources. The course catalog, honestly, is a great resource if you haven't already looked at it.
And then there's a question, can students join club and sports activity together? I'm not sure I'm understanding that exactly the way it's meant, but yes, there are students who participate in a sport and also happen to participate in a club at the same time. There are also students who do sports through the school and through a program outside of the school that's often known as club sport. So that's possible too, that you might be in soccer both at school and outside of school. Not sure if that answers the question.
I think it's great. And also clubs, my daughter's in like 3 or 4 clubs. They just need to make sure that, you can go to the club meetings because sometimes attendance is important. Sometimes clubs are very flexible. Like she was in ceramics club, but she only went to it like once a month or so. But then other clubs, you have to attend more often. And sports, you really can't do more than one sport per season, but you can do a sport every season. And to do clubs and sports, make sure you buy an ASB card, and that's in that video, athletics and activities video, and more information on the website. I have a parent question saying, can the language classes be taken in middle school or outside of high school for credits? High school credit, the middle school, they will offer a language like Spanish or French in 8th grade. That counts towards your high school credits. If you're taking like Hindi or Marathi outside at your private school, unfortunately, that doesn't count. But you can then take the world language test, and then based on your score on that test, that can give you credit on your high school transcript. And I encourage any child who already speaks another language to take the world language test because it's a great way to get language credit. And just keeping the credit, and then based on that score, you might get that seal of biliteracy in that language. So it looks really good.
And if you take the competency test and you don't do well, nothing happens on your transcript. So there is no risk in taking it. There is a question about AP grades and how taking an AP class could affect your overall grades. So when you take an AP class, it might push you farther. You might earn slightly lower grade than you would if you took the standard class and didn't challenge yourself as much. But colleges also really value that rigor. So it is not that earning an A is automatically the most important thing. It could be worth it to take a rigorous class and get a B+ instead of an A because you've shown you're pushing yourself that much further. And colleges really do value that. There is a follow-up question of, can you ask to remove a grade from a transcript if, if it's impacting your GPA? And the only time when you can remove a grade from your transcript is when you've taken a high school class while still in middle school. And you have a one-time only decision to remove that from your high school transcript. Once it's gone, you can't add it back. But for any class that you take in high school, that grade appears on your transcript no matter what.
That's why it's one of the things that we caution students and families, because sometimes they're over exuberant and they're going to take a lot of AP and a lot of high rigor classes. And then they start struggling a couple months into it, and you can't really change it, because if you change, your child is not going to get credit for any of those class. So, and even if you drop it, you're still going to show as a fail or something. So really choose wisely and don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, we don't have a good test the waters and then back out opportunity, because we are really trying to build our master schedule to fit the needs of all students. So we can't guarantee there's an opportunity to change your mind later. And taking all of the hardest classes, but not doing well in those classes, that doesn't help you get into college. But playing it safe and getting perfect 4.0 GPA, but never challenging yourself may also not help you in getting into a more selective college. So it really is a balance. You do want to challenge yourself, but to a degree that you can still enjoy your education, sleep, eat, have friends, enjoy your life, and
not just
do well
enjoy
in classes.
education, right? Because it's also to have club and activities like extracurricular, because again,
and
the
a childhood.
And the whole concept of the US schools and colleges of looking for well-rounded children.
Yeah.
It's important. Colleges really want to see kids who have outside interests.
Not just academic robots. Yeah.
So we want to make sure we have that, and we don't want to burn them out before they get to college, and that they're enjoying their life and have hobbies. Because that's one of the questions on colleges, what's your hobby? What are your interests? What are your passions? And those are things that people write about. And so that's important too. But I am going to end the session, Melanie, because I'm actually getting a bit hungry since I didn't have a chance to eat dinner yet.
Okay.
So, because I was getting this. So thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I had my email on the email I sent you all to invite you with a Zoom link. So you're welcome to follow up with any questions you may have. Good night.
Thank you.